Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unlimited Railworks, Video Game Choo-Choo's anime podcast. Whew. It is warm. We're here to talk about anime, and was I here last time? No. Was I?
No.
Nope.
It was
just you and Maverick, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, so everyone's back together again then, and we're here properly.
The band is back.
I was moving to Los Angeles, so it was a bit of an undertaking to go across the entire country. So I think I needed to take a break before doing that. But I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that we're all here. Also here again is John.
Hi, I'm back. I don't remember what I was doing last week.
Probably work?
Maybe. I don't fucking know.
Who can say? LV, what have you been doing, huh? What are you up to?
Yeah, I was here last episode, and I don't even remember what I was doing last week. To be fair.
That's March for you.
It's March for you. And speaking of March.
Yeah.
Speaking of March,
Oh, wait.
not to skip.
We have Mavericks here also.
Yeah, truth. December destroyed me. January crushed me. And by February, I was not myself. March rolled in like beatings and came out like a bear hug. In April,
As they say.
In April, I will stare out the window for a fucking month.
Me too.
Yep.
That's just the vibe of year 2 of a pandemic.
2?
3? Sorry. I really wish it was 2. Oh no.
Don't start saying numbers. That will just
Yeah, this is making things worse. Okay, never mind. Speaking of 3, March is the 3rd month, and this is an called March Comes In Like a Lion, or what is it? It's Threegatsu no Ryan?
Sangatsu no Ryan.
Sangatsu? Sorry, such as a song.
Ryan.
Come on.
Come on, listen. I'm out of practice. My kanji with.
You're correct. You're factual that March is indeed the third month in
It is,
calendars.
yes.
Yes.
So we watched that thanks to Patreon pick. Oh wait, no, this wasn't a Patreon pick.
No,
this was Elvie's pick. Which thank you, Elvie, because I've been putting this off for years.
Already thinking about the Patreon pick.
I am. That's this
foresight.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Totally fair.
March Comes In Like a Lion is a series written and illustrated by Chika Umino. As I said, I think on the last time we did, or when we announced that we were going to watch this, I was saying I learned about her from Fate Go, and I have to say I quite like her style of writing and character design. The series specifically was done by Shaft, the anime series. And obviously they have their own flair to it. Like, obviously, most of these women have transformed into full-on Shaft women. But there is still that consistent art style that I think makes it stand out and feel really warm, is what I always think of when I look at it. It really just has a warm, like, not cartoony vibe, but, like, you know, like an exaggeration to reflect the emotions that they are just, like, going through in the series. But yeah, I won't go immediately into it. Elvie, as the person who recommended this, what did you think of March Comes In Like a Lion?
Yeah, I have like a personal relationship with this series because it was actually and actually a strange bittersweet one, because it was very much a series recommended to me by someone I don't, you know, it was someone who's like I've ended ties with for like a long time ago at this point. It was very interesting revisiting it in kind of a different perspective, trying to learn how to what's the cope. I guess when you have relationships like those and you're trying to cope with the issue of like, man, this thing is kind of ruined because it's tied with that former relationship or something that turned sour. And there were just like a few things like that I was trying to learn how to process, like asking these questions about yourself over like, did I really like this, or was this tied to a very specific person or a very specific formative period in my life that it doesn't hold up on its own. And and ultimately, as one of those positive things that did come out of that, now broken bond, like this very much is a series that holds up regardless. And it is something I genuinely do love and appreciate. And like, actually, in fact, like even notice maybe I think more people are going into it recently, which is interesting. Despite it being a couple years old at this point, at least the anime adaptation, the manga is still ongoing. And I'm not sure yet if like another season will continue the rest of it to the end, but it is, yeah, indeed a very interesting Shaft production where, as you were saying, the women have been shafted.
Oh yeah, like all the way.
Like, where this is not a dark series necessarily at its surface. It's very much a series about mental health, about trauma. About imposter syndrome, like about a lot of negative feelings, a lot about like negative emotions. Yet the surface is very soft, very warm, very nostalgic in a way. A word they use in the series itself, fluffy, for one of the characters described Akari specifically. Like she makes, like at least the translation I remember being that, she takes things home and tries to make things fluffy again. It's very heartwarming and welcoming, which is kind of the themes of what the series is trying to do when it follows basically an orphan, a young man, a teenager who's kind of forced to grow up and is sprung into adulthood very quickly because he lost his parents, and his way of channeling, or at least finding some sort of outlet in the midst of that like very lonely time period, is through shogi. And when you read about this series and like how it's described, it's like, is this a sports anime? Is this a sports series? And it's not. You very quickly realize this is not a shogi focused show. It's more like shogi's used as like a prop piece. Like it's really entirely just something in the backdrop to frame kind of the character conflicts between the main character and and kind of like everyone else, even though it's very centered on him, Ray. Which means zero, right? Like, is that I'm correct? Or something to the effect of like blankness.
Mm-hmm.
So all the names here are very like on the nose. They're not like trying to be subtle at all. But he's going through this emotional journey where he's forced to be an adult, but in a lot of ways he's still very stunted. He's still very much a young man who doesn't know quite who he is. And it's very evident, even as little, as the first like 11 episodes of the first season of the show, that he's kind of not, he doesn't have his own identity quite yet. It's clear that he just never had the time or support network to develop that with the circumstances that he was forced into. And he's trying to substitute that with shogi for now. And over time throughout the later part of the series and, ongoing, like, he reevaluates what that is. His relationship with the game over whether or not it's like his crutch, or like if it's actually something he actually does want to do. Like he second guesses himself over whether or not it's something he actually likes, or was simply something that was just handed to him because he had nothing else in his life. He had no immediate family to support him. Like his adoptive family had a lot of issues, which is why he chose to live on his own now, which is something that continues to haunt him, and literally comes back with his like adoptive sister kind of like constantly trying to guilt trip him with her own like mess going on, clearly. And he ends up finding kind of like a found family within these this group of sisters who are like basically his neighbors. They're not literally his neighbors. They like, they kind of like show it, and like they're in like a seaside town, and like they're like across a bridge. So I don't know like what's the base, but they're basically in the community. And from an incident we later learn about, like they found him and they took him in, and now he's like, and he has essentially befriended them and has realized, at least slowly learned to realize, wow, these people are just so kind and charitable to me, and like they kind of have their own demons going on. They have their own personal struggles, and he's kind of trying to learn how to mirror himself to that. Well, not learn, he's not learning, but like we learn as a viewer that there are definitely parallels there, that he's that his experience with them is basically also helping his own healing journey from like all the things he's going through. And in a lot of ways, as much as he has like a lot of issues, his presence in their lives and eventually other people, such as the different players he meets throughout the shogi tournaments as he climbs up, is also impacting them as well. It's just a very wonderful, grounded, you know, like drama about you know, self-analysis and kind of just this journey about healing, essentially, just this journey about healing and trying to find yourself. And I think it's just so interesting how the sport of it is not the focus. It is merely just a platform to you know, kind of serve as the trajectory for like what all the characters are going through. With Ray being the center of all those relationships. It's a very good series. And again, like I said, despite all the focus on mental health and a lot of these, you know, negative feelings and emotions and struggles, it doesn't what's the word? It doesn't not cartoonize. What's the word? It doesn't. It's not exploitive about it. I think it's very, you know, tied in with how Shaft like loves to visualize things and use symbolism for a lot of things in a very avant-garde way. I think it does a good job of like demonstrating these emotions through their visual metaphors in such a way that isn't so flagrant or disrespectful. I think it ties in well with how grounded the show is and very subdued it is. It's not very, it's not a show about intrigue. You know, I might go into it later, but like I think I actually rewatch a very similar show, Queen's Gambit, which is a very similar premise, coincidentally enough, though Queen's Gambit was written in the 80s as a novel, where it similar does focus on a young prodigal character. In this case, she's like a girl who's kind of flung into the world of chess. And similarly, she has to work out a lot of her own issues while she's climbing up in the chess world. And it's just so strange how coincidental they're very similar. But in a lot of ways, it's a very different show. It's a very different series because that is definitely a series focused a lot on intrigue and you following this journey, seeing whether or not this girl will, you know, completely fall apart. I don't know, it's something a little more, you know, I think it's also a show that stands on its own, but it's very much a show that is about that. It has that feeling of stress and anxiety as you're following along to stories, whereas this is a show that really is about, like, learning to be comfortable and kind of taking it in, which, again, tied a lot with the production design of, like, this very pastoral, like, visual style, the music. You know, it's interesting. Like, there are, again, two series that are very similar, coincidentally, and they approach two very different ways on how to depict the struggles of trauma and mental health. And both are using a board game, like a competitive board game, to kind of talk about that. It just shows a lot of ways that, like, you know, around the world we have, you know, we all kind of like end up resigning to the same human stories, but there's still so many ways we can depict it. From different culture perspectives, and I think that's pretty cool. And in a lot of ways, I hope like Queen's Gambit also like kind of directed people to March Comes in like a line, and vice versa. I think those are both kind of things that accompany each other for both the strengths they have. But yeah, that's that's my opinion about this series, which is kind of at this point like maybe my second or third rewatch of the first season, essentially.
Yeah. I thought that I will probably join you at some point when I want to show someone else this, because I've already really liked what I've been seeing. It was a rewatch with my girlfriend who I watched most of the episodes with, and she really still liked it. It seemed like she was really hyped for everything that was happening. And I was too. I think this is a great show. It really, like, I think the most effective sport, like, people talk about how in sports anime you end up getting caught up, like, to the point where they're not even talking about the game, right?
Right.
Like where it's all focused on personality. But here I think the way that they examine the interiority of everyone in a way that isn't just like, I need to be better. It's like, it's more of like, who am I? And what makes me feel the things that I'm feeling, and having that like long form, more realistic, like the scene at the very end of episode 11,
Right.
where he's running and yelling and he's just running until he's tired himself out is very like that's real shit, as I would say. That is the real shit.
Right. There was like a lot of pent up anger where,
Yeah.
yeah, it seemed like he was upset directly at his opponent and like how shitty of a person he might have been. But in reality, it was very clear it was kind of very parallel to his own relationship to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that this reminded me that anime could be really, really good in recent times. Not that we haven't watched good anime on the show. Like, I enjoyed Princess Jellyfish, I enjoyed other things, but before I moved, obviously, I was watching a lot of isekai and like just a lot of stuff that's very formulaic and making concessions about what it wants to talk about and its ideas. And on the opposite end, you have this. Like, this is a series that is like really deliberate with what it wants to do, with its characters, with exploring like all of the angles of it. Like, my favorite character in this is Kyoko, his adopted sister. She is like the worst person, and it rules because like they're examining like how he feels about her as well. I think of the line like, I don't know whether what I hated more, that she was doing this or that I wanted to hear her saying more or whatever. Like, I wanted her to keep talking to me and say this stuff. Just really interesting relationships and ideas, and that sort of like not just the examination of the self, but the examination of like that teenage understanding where you go, oh my God, wait, everyone else in the world is another person with their own stuff going on. And I shouldn't just develop an ego and think I'm more than them or less than them even. And that feels like sort of what it's grappling with. I think the bump of chickens opening and ending are quite good, as usual with them. And I also think that Shaft makes the best adaptations of anything ever all the time. And it drives me crazy because the way that they are able to have their own distinctive house style, but still make this look like the way, like the distinctive art style, the like very specific way they draw like faces and environments, colors. There's so many colors in this show, but it's not in a way that's like Princess Jellyfish colors, right? Where everything's super bright all the time. This is like, there are colors, but it's more like realistic, colorful. Like, I think about all of the background dressing in the Kawamoto house, like how there's just like little curtains with like a cute little like bunny rabbit on it, and like just all the different cabinets and the pictures, and how like lived in that feels without looking like a background. Like, I really like everything about this show, and I'm going to watch literally all of it now, going forward over the next month probably, because I think there should just be more stuff like this, more earnest and like true to the human nature of things, instead of like you said, like it not focusing entirely on shogi despite being about shogi. Like, the fact that they didn't explain how shogi worked, really, like I didn't know how it
Yeah,
worked
it just
until the
jumps in,
fucking
it's
cat
like,
song. It was just like, but it was still effective. Like, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything extremely, like I was able to intuit everything because of the way everything was delivered.
Right, the problem is, like, I still don't quite understand it, to be honest. Like, not at all.
It's a confusing game because, like...
you need to know Japanese. That's the problem.
That's true, yeah.
The
'cause you need
pieces
another
do not...
economy, yeah.
For some reason, I've looked it up. When I first watched the series, I was like, why is there no version of this game that's played where there are like where there's iconography? No, it's
Yeah.
just like, no, you gotta do it Japanese.
Well,
Sorry,
because what is symbols but iconography on its own, right?
oh,
So, like,
absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
but yeah,
But definitely.
it's definitely more difficult to pick up than chess. But I think it made me appreciate things like chess again, like that nature of just like mental warfare, but like the casual way at which it's all presented is just a real breath of fresh air. Because like I think about like a Haikyuu, I think about a Free, those other sports animes and stuff like that, and the intensity and like hype they have to put behind everything. And these matches are much more quaint and sad because you have to sit there and you have to think about things, but your brain's not just going to just think about the match. It's going to think about all these other things. It's going to think about your opponent. It's going to think about yourself. And that's why I think Ray has such a depression, right? Because he has to spend so much time inside his own mind. But yeah, I really like this show a lot. John, I was curious, since you just rushed through a bunch of them. Not rushed, but you just burned through them.
You're calling me out like that?
What your-
Jeez.
I'm sorry. No, I wanted
Get
to say I
his
wanted to hear
ass.
your fresh take. Is what I was going for. I want to hear like what you think since you just watched it. What you thought.
I mean, yeah, it's really good. It was at times it was a little, I don't know if I'd say hard to watch, but it definitely got to me a bit, just because, like, being someone who did grow up very alone and away from people, like I'm not an orphan, but having to like watch someone who I feel like has a lot of the same problems I do was a lot. But it was also good to see that, and it was just like an interesting concept to watch. The whole shogi pro thing at a young age, like I really appreciate that they go out of their way to showcase that it is something that he's really good at, and it's something that they try not to make him seem like some magic, super powerful, like shonen manga protagonist or something, where he's just good at shogi because he's good at shogi. Like, he actively is studying constantly, and he wants to be really good at it, and it's something that he is passionate about, whether in a positive or negative way. Like he's questioning if he wants to continue doing it and all that stuff. So there's something to it that is not so two-dimensional, which I appreciate. But it's also just about like trying to figure out what your place in life is, and if you need a place in life, and trying to just find people to be around that accept you for who you are.
Yeah, it's a very effective and earnest work.
Yeah, it kind of I'm realizing that it does like subvert the prodigy cliche, and it actually
Yeah.
shows it's like gifted child, like it definitely shows that it's a very, that can be like inconsequentially a very negative thing to put on someone. Right? Like you put them on, they're put on a pedestal, like, wow, like he's so talented, and he's like, it's just a teenager, and like he lost his childhood. He lost his child from like losing his parents, shitty adopted family, and then just now in this limelight and like this community filled with older men, mostly adults, so it's like, and now he's just like this gifted, it's like, wow, he's special. And then that it clearly is tied into like why he is the way he is. Like it just had a negative effect on him, and like being in that spotlight and just again questioning, is this really who I am, or is this just something propped up because of the stuff I went through,
Yeah, I think about my other favorite character is his teacher from his high school.
Yes.
Who's like, he recognizes, it's a tropish
There's a
character.
lot of good old guys here. There's just
Oh, yeah. But there's just all the bits of him constantly being like, please care about trying to do this stuff. Like, I get that this is your livelihood, this is your life, but at the same time, you should branch out and try to do these other things, please. And I really
Right.
like
Yeah,
the
they clearly
jokey way
just-
he
they-
does it. Yeah.
Yeah, they clearly he's clearly like for comedic effect in a way, and clearly like a little exaggerated. But he clearly does not know what to recommend to someone like this who's like, oh, go to school. Maybe like it's just he just does not know what to say, but he's tried his best, but he also clearly sees that and senses there's there's stuff going on, but I'm doing my best to kind of like push him towards trying other things because again the issue of like just being so dependent on this, and then if there's nothing else, like what happens. And we saw that too with the again some of the two major opponents he like competed with in this like in this string of episodes. The first one of the first old guy, I forgot their names, but one of the first old guys he competed with, and who who seems like he was about to retire anyway, and ultimately it was kind of like a moment for him to like realize, should this also be tied and define my life entirely now that when this guy retires, like what else is he going to do? And it ends on a joke of like, oh, he doesn't want to retire actually because that means his wife will make him do shit around the house, which is, but then we see that like in a more negative way with another opponent where like he beat him and he was terrified of like beating that guy because he was terrified of what that means for that man's career and ultimately the rest of his personal life. So it was just kind of like interesting, like warnings to him in a way over like, this, don't let this whole thing dominate your life or you'll end up that way.
Yeah. And I mean, also don't feel bad for how other people are going to take things. Like it's not his fault that he's like his foster sister is like constantly giving him shit for saying like, oh, I like he's finding out about this stuff because she's telling him, like she's all like, oh, I hear that he's gonna retire if he loses. Oh, I hear that guy just gets really drunk and blows all his cash on gambling and like is a real shithead to his family.
You're gonna ruin his life,
and he's about to get divorced. His kid wants one more good Christmas with her dad. Do you want to do that? Do you want to make her dad go out and drink? Like, no, Ray isn't the one doing that. Like, he's not responsible for this guy's bad decisions, and like Ray needs and Ray, like, he realizes that and he like vents about it basically to himself, just like, yeah, no, like it's like if that guy really wanted to win, he shouldn't have just drank. He could have actually went home and practiced like I do. Like, I won because I practice. I won because I'm better than him, and if he's gonna beat himself up over it, then fuck him. Like that is 100% how he reacted, and like that's what he should take away from it, like, and he shouldn't be just like letting his foster sister step all over him like that.
I can't blame him. Because that is the most compelling woman to me. But no, Maverick, what are you up to? What do you think? Because I'm sorry you haven't gotten much of a chance to speak up yet.
Nah, listen, I'm always eager to hear what other folks have to say about this, and I don't know, I think like my main thought now coming back into the show, because this is my first watch, but as soon as I got through those first 11 episodes, like fairly like early into when we announced it, I immediately started going forward, and so I immediately got into the second core as well. And for that second part of the season, it is a bit more shogi intensive, but it is more so in the way that, still aligning it to the perspective of a sports anime. A lot of sports anime presents itself from the lens of someone freshly new to what's going on. And so the only time we actually get an explanation of shogi is when, some of the sisters, Hana? Is that her name?
Yeah, Hana very specifically asks
Hinata.
to be taught, or Hina.
Oh, Hinata.
Yeah.
Hina.
Okay.
Hinata and
Yeah,
Momo
Hina, as they
want
shorten it.
to, learn how to play shogi, so that is the only time we get anything close to an explanation about what's going on, because, we're in a world of professional shogi players. It's not, oh, here's what each of these pieces do. It's, all right, so I see that you're starting with this tactic here. Once you move pawn to 5-3, now 30 moves from now, we're probably going to be in this predicament. How are we going to be able to get from point A to point B so that we don't find ourselves here again? Did you get the results from last year's match? Yeah. Looking at this setup, and like it's so there's no time to actually learn about it. And that's also like, it's another reminder that like, no, it doesn't matter about that, but what matters is that you see, no, like, this is literally their livelihoods. This is the thing that they have to focus on so that they are able to continue to support themselves, to have something that like it's their livelihood, it is their career. This is the thing that they have to do so that they can just continue to supply for themselves. And you see it at the varying levels. I was also just thinking as well that, I don't know, sometimes there is definitely, and I am guilty of this as well, moments where an anime comes up and a problem is established where, you know, the solution quite literally is just talk to somebody. Just actually go ahead and talk to somebody. I'm glad that this is an anime that posits the reality that, no, sometimes talking is still the hard part. Because that means I have to see somebody. And that means that I have to put myself in a situation where I don't know what's going to happen. But you know what I do know will happen if I just stay here in bed? I don't have to worry. I can just continue to be here and not worry about the way someone might present themselves to me. It is a very veritable format of just showing what it is to run away. Shinji Ikari, get at me. But no, I think just the metaphor that the show uses for depression as well is definitely one that I resonate with, where it's just like, no, it's very easy to drown in those thoughts. It's very easy to just have the sensation of it all, like, seize you. And so, even then, like, God, poignant lines that get in the middle there where it's like, it's so hard to cook rice for yourself. So you just stop. Ooh, but that aside though, counterintuitive to Rei's thought processes and someone that really does ground him, Nikaido is a fantastic character.
Oh my god, he's a legend.
God, such a great dude. Like, for one thing, like, it's refreshing to have a fat character where there aren't any fat jokes done at his expense. Mm-hmm. And also, like, Akari's whole bit is like, oh, he's so big, he's so fluffy. And it's like, oh, wait, like, he's got more stuff going on. I just love that immediate, like, idea, because Nikaido is a guy that is, he's heavier, but he's also someone that is, like, continuously hospitalized. So,
yeah,
you know, it might be something glandular, it might be something more focused there, but it's like, even in an instant, Akari could pick up on that, and she was just like, oh, okay, so, like, I still want to invite him for dinner, because love this guy, but also, like, let me be respectful of that and make something that's, like, courteous to what he's got going on. Mm-hmm. Just very quick scenes that show that there is a lot of empathy just all around, and that, no, this is, like, a person who cares about the people that are around her. Nikaido as well, though, just such a positive voice in Rei's life. You know, the two of them met when they were kids at a outdoor shogi event in the summer, and in that match, you know, he was heating up. He was literally just on the verge of collapsing, and, you know, for a second, Rei thought, oh, let me just take him out of his misery, and then the match persisted because Nikaido wanted it to, and I think it also just goes to show that level of, like, oh no, you aren't a prodigy because you're good at what you do. You become proficient in this task because there are people that are willing to motivate you and continue that pursuit. And for the two of them, like, Nikaido will call them rivals, but they definitely are people that I would consider prominent in the way that they want to evolve one another. And it's so good as well that Nikaido is at least able to see that in the way that he wants to still latch onto that. But for Rei, like, it is going to take a bit more convincing or a bit more push, which, again, like, that gets developed a bit more in the second core, but where it is in those first 11 episodes, it's such a compelling push to remind you, like, no, like, it's not, the simple thing isn't, oh, if I quit shogi, then I'll stop having these problems. And I'm grateful as well that this is a series that is admitting to the fact that, like, there's no such thing as just the easy solution for something. Instead, it takes its time to delve into, like, what is that relationship for Rei between himself and Shogi, between himself and the sisters that more or less have adopted him. Like, I remember that one line that Momo has where it's like, Rei's not our brother? And they're just like, shit. Oh, we didn't.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't let her know. We tried not to bring it up. But, and between Rei and his adoptive family as well, where it's kind of just like, you know, that conversation between him and Kyoko where it is such a difficult thing of recognizing, yeah, you know, you're telling me that I stole people away from you. That's why I moved out, because I thought that would be the solution. But now you're just coming up in my life more. Oh, I guess there's more to it than just, if I leave, that solves everyone's problems. It does such a good job of still making people, you know, even if characters are unlikable, it is at least rationalized. And characters that are likable are still shown with their own unrational behavior. Like, it does a lot to just showcase the humanity of everyone, and it's what really makes the show stand out. I can't think of another show that, like, and again, things that I would laud for their craftsmanship with characters or the way that they do create gentle narratives, none of it still comes close to what I've seen out of March Comes In Like a Lion.
Yeah, like I was saying, like, yeah, the way that the series analyzes the interiority of everyone, I think every single character, is what really sets it apart. It's something I like in all my favorite works, and seeing it in this genre specifically, I think, is really interesting and compelling. It's a good show. It's a good show.
Really good show.
I for the longest time I didn't know there was a proper season 2. I thought the season 2 was just the second course, so I was very happy when I found out. Yeah, I was very happy.
It got a bunch of episodes.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will get even more later when Shaft finishes making Ruby the anime.
Right, and it's so funny because the production story behind the anime is very much the mangaka Chico Ueno, like, very much wanted the mangaka director. She very much has said explicitly, "I want that person. If no one else takes this show, I don't fucking want an anime show." She didn't say that, of course, vulgar, but you know what I mean. She very much was like, "I admire this person's work. I would like to see what they would do." And very much succeeded because, you know, even then she expressed hesitance over, not hesitance, but she very much, like, you know, the stuff they do is like, they do a lot of weird, I don't remember the wording, but it was very much, the word close-ups was just kind of funny. Shaft close-ups, and she kind of actually wanted that. She wanted their weird treatment of things, and lo and behold, that happened. I think, like, they even visited the town she based the setting onto. Like, they legitimately did a lot of work when it came to, like, you know, the research for the anime adaptation, and that was very nice.
The second core, also good opening and ending.
Yep.
Yes, I was shown those, and
The
they're
themes
quite
were
good.
so good.
I saw that the first two were done by, so it was Bumpa Chicken, but it was because she had done the art, or no, they had done a music video for the manga or something in, like, 2012 or something. So when they made the anime
just did a
proper,
song
she was
inspired
like,
by it?
yeah,
Okay.
and then when they were making the anime, she was like, "Oh, come on, let's bring in these guys. I like these guys." And I like that a lot.
They're fans.
That's good. And
Oh, that's nice.
Yuri, really good opening. Might be my favorite Tsukima Switch song so far. For the second ending.
I'd have to listen to it more, but I believe my girlfriend feels the
Is
same
it
way.
Kenshi Yonezo? I don't remember if he was he did something for the second or the second half of the first season, but
I do not know.
yeah, all the songs in the show are good.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Any,
no, I realized that Kenshi Unenzu and Tsukima Switch are very similar sounding.
Yes, they do. They do have similar voice.
But no, I think it was I believe if I'm reading the katakana wrong, I think it was Tsukima Switch proper doing that one.
do we got anything else we'd like to say, or should we move on to April?
I'm good. You know, I mean, like I said, I just kind of agree with everything y'all are saying.
Fuck. I was wrong. It was Kenshi Yonezu.
Well, you're just proving your point even more, I think, with that.
God, when's the... I just need him to make more. They're good artists. Hachi also a good artist.
Yeah.
You know who's also a good artist? Before?
Yeah.
Do we have anything else? So nothing else about
No, I think that's everything.
All right. Hell yeah. You know who else is a good artist? Eve.
Oh boy.
Musical artists. Definitely a lot
Yes.
of fun, you know. First,
You're correct.
First Jujutsu Kaisen opening.
Yes, you're
Okay.
correct.
Dramaturgy. Lot of fun
Has
stuff.
all good songs.
Elvie,
A lot of angsty songs. Yes.
what
Yeah,
do you know
yeah.
about Eve?
What I know about Eve does great music. He's a great talented musician. If you ever feel emo, that's someone you listen to. No, I agree. The Jujutsu Kaisen theme he did was also very good, very iconic. And he basically recently did what is essentially a visual album called Adam by Eve, because, okay, of course, he goes
Yeah,
by
you
Eve.
have to.
Sure. And does he live up to that symbolism? I don't think so. But as I will go into in this video essay, no. Adam by Eve is a very strange short film. Like I said, it's a visual album. If someone's confused by what I'm talking about, if you're not familiar with visual albums, it's essentially a concept album where you not a concept album, like you take songs from like an album that like probably is a concept album. So like there is a narrative if you listen to the songs in order, etc. And the artists decide like I'm gonna make a film out of it. You know, I'm gonna make some sort of film out, or it's gonna be like an interconnected series of music videos that suggest some sort of narrative. You know, Beyonce's Lemonade is a particularly famous modern example, and then you also have things like Daft Punk's anime movie, which is Interstellar.
Five.
It's all the fives. That's a particularly high production one where that's a full on anime film. Pink Floyd's The Wall, like those are examples. In this case, this is another example. I'm not sure if it's all drawing from a particular album by Eve recently, or if it's just an EP, etc. But it is indeed his songs set to a short film, and the short film revolves around. Let me look at my notes because I was very not into it. As unfortunately, I'm being very negative, not into it, but I was trying to get into it, but then I realized what was happening, and I was like, no, okay. Not with the story itself, but just the execution of it could have been better. That's how I'm going to surmise it in the beginning. Like, this could have been better. This could have been way better. Like, he has great music, great bops, and it deserved a better movie. It revolves around these two schoolgirls who are like, friends. Very close friends. They're hanging out on a luncheon. One of the girl leaves. They're having this conversation about like dreams. And they both had weird dreams that kind of match with each other. They're all talking about like remembering dying in the dream, like all this fucked up stuff. Like very casually talking about in like a luncheon/diner. And seeing this one-eyed monster. One of the girls starts talking about like, ever since that day, though, I haven't seen my friend ever again. And it's this whole thing where she's trying to find her friend in the city, or like, or a little unclear if she actually was, but and or just wandering the city very listless that her friend quote is gone, as I will emphasize why friends in quotes. And And it's very evident clear that they must have had some sort of romantic relationship. The way they talk about each other is very intimate. Again, very ambiguous. They don't explicitly ever say, romantic language or love language. But it's very clear there's something about the relationship that might have been ostracized. There's something about them that they're framed like outsiders in some way to, whether to school or like just society in general. There definitely is some sort of like metaphor going on here about like being ostracized. However, the way it ties into music is not very seamless. So, you have scenes like that where it's like, okay, they're hanging out. And then it jumps into literally an Eve music video. And it's not, it's barely connected with what's going on in the film. It felt more like a montage. It's not seamlessly woven into what we're seeing on screen to the music. It's just Eve being like, I made an incredible music video. It felt very much like they didn't want to interweave the music videos too much with this short film so it's easier to extract the music videos as a separate thing so they can be posted. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
They felt very different in terms of the wavelength of the editing process, so one can be still separate from the other without issue, which is kind of like, what's the point then? And that kind of carries on throughout the rest of this like less than hour short film. And it repeats so many things. It keeps repeating flashbacks. Like, so the girl, the main character is named Aki. Her friend is named Taki. So they just literally have the same name, kind of. And it's just Taki, like constant flashbacks to Taki. Even though we literally saw it like one song ago, where she's like, we're gonna be together forever. It keeps repeating clips like that. And I realize what they're trying to do. Midway through, where the dream logic starts seeping into reality, where, a bit more of the animation actually starts seeping into like the backgrounds, etc. And it's essentially about this being stuck in a cycle. That's what it's getting at. More than halfway through the film, at some point, I think like Aki trips. I don't know what happened. She like collapses. She probably gets overwhelmed by like all these emotions she's feeling about missing her friend. Quote again, friend, probably actually secretly lovers. And then we just cut away to a whole ass like anime sequence that looks nothing like the rest of the movie. And they don't tell you what happened. Like, we are supposed to assume like, oh, okay, maybe now we're seeing this representation of the dreams the girls are having, because we see things like the one-eyed monster now depicted. Aki, I think, is like now this girl is now this very animified girl with blue hair going about her day in this very insane surreal montage. And at some point, she eventually just gives up. Well, not gives up, but she eventually like quits and decides to fight off the one-eyed monster. And like again, like a very Gainax-esque insane mob fight sequence. And then she wakes up. She wakes up in the middle of the street. We get another Eve music video. I'm kind of like short form. There's again like the way the first half repeats constantly of just repeating the same scenes of the girls hanging out. It lasts quite a bit before we get to this crazy anime sequence. But yeah, then she wakes up. We have another stretch of like her just talking to herself and just again being sad. And then it cuts away again. She wakes up again back to the beginning. And we were like, is it all a dream? Did none of that stuff happen? Like, there was a whole insane clip too where it was like a whole thing where it kind of was very explicit that maybe Taki killed herself. Maybe Taki killed herself because she's gay. And it's like, damn, okay, geez, it's one of those, right? It's one of those stories. All right, okay. But then it just kind of undoes all that with, was it all a dream or she's still in a dream thing? It was very odd. It was very odd. Like, I understood what it was trying to get at, but it was kind of messy. It was very messy. All because it just wanted to do, like, a bunch of music videos. And that's okay. But it just, as, like, a short film, it's not really acceptable. It's just... And I totally get it was supposed to be very surreal, but even dream logic has, logic. It just felt very messy through and through. It definitely felt like there were two different ideas they were trying to thread together to make it make sense. Like being this short story of like these two girls and they're, talking about dreams and it being kind of interconnected with what might be a potentially like taboo relationship, but unclear, ambiguous, to this like separate anime world that has nothing to do with them, but it's all stuff that's just probably like aesthetics associated with Eve's branding and all these and all these random characters that show up that are never explained. They're just there for aesthetics. So it's like as a visual like just piece, it's fine. It's actually cool. There's like a lot of experimental stuff, and once you realize that this is made by Studio Kara and made by like specifically not made by entirely, but like has a lot of the animators who made Teddy Lloyd's Me Me Me, you're like, oh, okay, I see, I get, okay, and like a lot of imagery is repeated too. It's like, okay, I get it. Okay, it's those people. It's right. They just wanted to make a cool music video, but it wasn't a good film, and that's fine. Definitely not. I think a visual album that is up there. It was just very messy, and that's okay. It's okay. It's like it is very much like what a music artist like. Not I don't know. It's incorrect to say he's up and coming. He's very much someone who has like done a lot already at this point, Eve. But it's very much someone who wanted to do just a cool project because maybe he probably saw Teddy Lloyd's work or like just like I fucking love anime. I've done work for anime. I just want to make an anime, and that's fine. That's literally what Daft Punk fucking did.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think do you think it's not carried the same way that, say, the Daft Punk film would be carried by Daft Punk music? Like, do you think that's the problem to an extent as well?
Yeah,
like, do you think the music was better?
It has nothing to do with the quality of music. It very much is like the music didn't really tie directly into the story. It was very just loosely latched on. For instance, they fucking put in the Jujutsu Kaisen theme song like in this movie. It was very weird because it's like I associate that with Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't associate with this like kind of
that is really
interesting
weird
psychoanalysis of these two girls. Yeah, it was just so weird.
It is also important to like point out that the way that it is. So I realized that like a week or two ago I put out like, oh hey, here's this weird thing that Eve's doing, and I realize only now, quite recently, that music video for there's a music video for Dramaturgy that came out, and it quite literally is just them taking the snippet that they put in, because it is just like filmed in like an obscure little box where Eve's just performing, and it's not like with iconography specific to the movie itself either. It is just Eve performing in front of the backdrop of the music video they did for the original song. Which I guess also features ideas of like that one-eyed monster and like whereas Interstellar 55555, yeah.
Many fives.
Whereas that basically takes the entirety of an album and presents it to an animator to work with and develop a narrative for. Here, it's, I've got a set list, and I want visuals for my set list.
Yes, it's very much this is very much you play this in the background, but you don't pay attention to what's going on.
But also, like,
you're just listening to the vibes.
But then also, I kind of want to make it kind of part of it. It's.
Yeah. I want to look at the cool animation. I want some visual spectacle, but at the same time, it's very
Because I'll definitely believe like Eve is probably someone that is so like gung ho about it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was also just enough studio working to be like, let's get this going, but we got to make sure we have you in the song. Like, it's the fact that it is literally him. The music videos are not, here's an Eve song set to events that are happening in the narrative. What it is, okay, now we're going to cut to me doing the performance, and that's going to be the part that's in the thing now. Yeah, it's like the Jujutsu Kaisen song, literally done with just like, oh yeah, remember, here's the title of the anime.
Yeah, it's not diegetic at all. It's just very much very much an afterthought.
Not like not diegetic, but like it's the fact that it's specific. It's those scenes in Family Guy where Peter Griffin literally goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty." And they just cut
really,
to a
yeah,
live
it sounds
performance
like that.
of Conway Twitty.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Because I clicked through the live video before trying to like grasp it because I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like very well done animation. But it quite literally
Yes.
is. All right, now that we're done with this, get ready for Eve. And it's like, okay,
It's a lineup of programming.
yeah. Just so weird.
Just as soon as you said that they reused the Jujutsu Kaisen opening, it's like I realized that. So like I was going to say like that, any anime can use whatever songs they want, just like
Yeah.
a TV show over here can use any song they want.
Right.
However,
It doesn't necessarily mean it was produced for the show.
Yeah,
But it may have been
but-
written with it in mind and vice versa. Yeah.
could you imagine if like fucking like
Oh my god, they're
fucking
literally
superheroes from like Interstellar 5555 was like in a car commercial, and then they're like not a car commercial, but like in fucking like My Neighbor Totoro, and then like randomly it's just also here. It just feels really weird.
yeah. Sorry, there is a scene that I just scrabbled through where they are literally just doing the me dance.
Yeah, they are. They just
I have
are.
seen that. I've actually seen that from that. I was
They
wondering what it
just
was from.
are.
And then they literally just do the FPS sequence from the latter end of me, but it's
Yes, they do. They just reuse a lot of like
God.
stuff in that moment. In the anime world moment.
so weird.
It's so jarring.
Cause yeah, no, like I'm
That
like,
was really strange.
But again, it's like based around like fucked up dreams and like, but it just didn't mesh well. I don't think I think there's so many components that had interesting themes and ideas, but it just did not.
yeah.
It feels more like a mistake than something that is unified. It's like, there's something missing here that could have done it all, but it's not there, and I don't know what that would be.
I feel like if it didn't have those live performance cut-ins, it would help its case a lot more.
That just sounds
The
insane.
the most insane part is during that anime world sequence, his anime avatar gets flashed on the billboard building, basically inspiring her to fight. It's like incredible. It's like very iconic to be quite
Okay,
honest.
well now you're
then
turning me
it's like,
around on it. That sounds really good.
No, but yeah, it just goes into the fact. This is just like a self-indulgent project, and I respect that. That's fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
it just wasn't good. Or it wasn't good, but it clearly had a lot of parts to it that it could have been way better.
That's disappointing to hear because I mean I've been a big fan of Interstellar 55555 since I was a child, so I'm always looking for more things like that because there's not enough visual albums, not enough people try because there's a lot of work you have to put into it.
Right.
It can surprise
I hear very good things about the Sturgill Simpson anime.
yeah.
Like, hey, if it's somebody that's wanting to do the work of hiring people to actually like put this vision together, who am I to judge?
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. John,
Hi.
hi. I was gonna ask you your pick. Do you wanna just talk about some Pokemon? Do you want to take it easy, or do you want to get into your DUD, which I read as DUI first, and I was like, what on earth?
Yeah,
Dress Up Darling.
I'm going to talk about my arrest. No, I'll talk about Pokemon. Maverick will probably want to join in about Dress Up Darling, and I don't want to kill him. I gotta wake up too. I'm sleepy. Anyway, folks, I'm almost caught up with Pocket Monsters. Shit is just off the. I watched so many episodes recently, and you just got to think about like the highlights here, So, I'm almost caught up, so I apologize. I'm not going to go beat by beat. One of the better episodes was Ash and go to the Slowpoke Island again.
Yeah.
And a bunch of Galarian Slowpoke and Slowking and Slowbro show up, and they're all kind of pissed off looking, so the other Slowpoke are like, what the fuck? These guys are messed up. I don't want to deal with them. But, actually, they're all friends. And then they end up one of the Slowking takes over Ash's brain, and then the other one takes over Go's brain, and they have this really cringe rap battle.
I don't like that.
They have a cringe rap battle.
Oh my god, that's even worse. What?
But then they have
I didn't.
No.
but then they have this cute bit where they're sharing curry together. They make like udon noodles and curry, and then
Okay.
they go, "Oh, but wait a minute, let's make udon curry." And then that's when I decided I wanted to make udon curry. And then I tried to make udon.
It's good.
Well, I tried to make udon in the rice cooker, and that didn't work.
Oh, that can be really finicky. Yeah.
It sure did just turn into a bunch of ectoplasm, and it was really nasty.
Yeah, it just turned to become sludge. Yeah,
My
at
man
that
made
point you should
Slimer.
just boil it.
It was my own damn fault. It's okay. I will just do normal.
No,
I'll do normal.
I've tried to
boiling.
do that before.
Yeah. But no, that was one of them.
I just, oh my god. Kanto Slowpoke, they drive like this. But Galarian Slowpoke, they drive like this.
Yeah, they do have some of that stuff. There was also an episode recently, where there was a I don't know if I want to call it a racism allegory. It kind of was, where like there's these two circus performers and they each have an Eevee.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, well, I like fire type Pokemon, so I'm going to turn mine into a Flareon. And then the other person's like, oh, I'm going to turn mine into a Jolteon because I like electric Pokemon. And then right as they're about to evolve it, they drop their rocks and they fall on the opposite Eevee. And so the whole episode is them the whole episode is them just being like, well, my partner isn't the type that I want them to be, but, and then at the end they make it work.
John, no, I wouldn't call that a racism allegory, but I was with you in the voice chat watching that one, and I was just saying, oh no, my child grew up into something I don't like, but I guess I'll
Yeah.
still learn how to like my child.
Yeah, I guess it's more just like it's less a racism allegory and more just like a damn, my kid's growing up and doesn't want to play sports.
And why? Why is that in the Pokemon anime? I'm gonna say, like, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it, but I'm like, who is what like the 7-year-olds getting this lesson? Like, ostensibly the target audience. Like, make sure
When
you're
you
nice
have
to
a
your
baby
kids,
one
kid.
day.
I accidentally transed my Eevee by throwing it the wrong rock,
Yeah.
but I turned out to love my
Like, I
Eevee
was-
anyway.
It's like if your dog turns purple one day, will you still like your dog, kid? Make sure you.
Well, no, you got to be careful though, because you can't love your Eevee too much, because during the day and night, that's also liability.
That's also.
Just,
You have to have the spritzer on you just in case. Or no,
I guess in general would be like acceptance to change. I think that could be like a general, but yeah, the whole it essentially is like child raising,
Yeah.
but I can see it more generalized than that.
I was going to ask you, John, because someone asked me about it, and I thought about how you were watching this.
Sure.
Do you think that the format of it being just they can go wherever the hell they want is much better?
Yes, I do think it does.
Because it seems a lot better just based on just all the stuff you talk about all the time. Like, it's so varied comparatively.
Yeah, they're able to.
Not that I don't appreciate.
Yeah, they're able to play around with what goes on in every episode. They don't have to make it so like Monster of the Week. They're able to like highlight Pokemon from the new gens and all that, but they are able to like come up with characters that can show up multiple times. They're able to actually highlight different aspects of the games that aren't just what's actively right now. And I mean, they probably decided to do this when they were like, okay, we're going to be doing this new gen, and then a remake, and then also another game set in Gen 4 time, kind of. and then also another gen like really quick. Like I bet they were just like, yeah, let's just make this easier for everyone, which I appreciate. But you know, I mean, for the anime side at least, you know, like obviously the game side is not good, but at the very least they're like giving the anime part more wiggle room to just do what they want. I do appreciate that. I don't know. It's there's something there. We watched up to the 100th episode, and that episode was just Ash goes out to train with Leon, and that's about it. Did you know Sonia's really bad at driving? That's the funny joke with her. She's very bad at driving.
Oh, British people, am I right?
Yeah. I mean, Leon's
And
thing
then
is
we
he
had
always
to
gets
stop
lost.
Yeah. We had to stop the episode because they had to remember the other person that was bad at driving.
Which
And
one?
it was like a whole 10-minute diatribe. Scott.
What about Scott? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. There's the Scott guy from Gen 3, the Battle Frontier
from
guy.
fucking Emerald? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Which we did remember that, and that was pretty funny just because there are like multiple scenes of him just like driving on the side of a cliff, which is pretty good.
I see. The thing that I really like is I was going to say the thing that I not that I like. I was going to say not that I don't appreciate them working with what they have to, right? The format of the old gen animes where it's like we have to use the characters from this gen, we have to use this region, we have to contrive this, that, or whatever. But there is something to be said for we can now contrive insane things about all of these characters from all of the different gens and bring them back whenever we want.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's a lot more fun.
They brought back Butch and Cassidy and then revealed that they're both just
Good.
like living their lives. Like Butch is like a baker and Cassidy is just like running a little like diner like cabin in the middle of the woods. And they're just living, and it's great. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see, like, you know, like obviously,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't want them to like just like hedge so much on the nostalgia bait, because you know I'm sitting.
No, but
They're like, oh man, it's the 25th anniversary, and we're bringing back the characters from X and Y, and it's like I don't care, but okay, sure, whatever. Like that stuff I don't care about, but when it's
Yeah.
you know.
but it's like
stuff, it's fun.
you're not. It's bringing into what we are missing from so much media that is, you know, an adaptation or like some such. Like there's no continuity because there can't be because of this idea of keeping everything separate and like the idea of acknowledging your past and like turning it into something new is something you just don't see a lot because of the inherent nature of, you know, media. So I think being able to see that, especially for Pokemon, which is such a storied and like elaborate series full of all this insane bullshit that they just is one and done. Like I think that's great. That's the type of stuff you want to see. Like
Yes.
it makes it feel more like a world instead of like, you know, an ever expanding series of books or whatever. Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that. I have not been watching anything because of my move. I was very busy getting everything set up and then getting over here. So all I have done is watch two things which are not anime. Maverick did give me the go-ahead to say that this one of these is anime. So I'll start with that one. Columbo.
That's right.
I've been watching Columbo for quite some time, as Italians are wont to do. And let me tell you, once you get to season 5 of Columbo, that shit's like popping off. Like every episode's a banger, nonstop. There's this episode with a magician, and the magician was like a Nazi, and he was gonna get like revealed to everyone, but he just does elaborate magic tricks to make it so that he can't get caught. And just Columbo learning magic over the course of this episode so he can own this man is like, that's anime. That is anime. It owns so hard. Highly recommend that episode. However, after season 5, which is the peak to me, season 6, season 6 as I've been watching, is really sad because it's witnessing what I complain about in a lot of media, where it's clear whoever, either if it's a script writer thing, if it's a director thing, if it's just the network deciding things, but everything has been dumbed down and streamlined into a specific format for every episode. Like, they have Columbo there, but he is explaining everything he's doing instead of just being a bastard. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the appeal of Columbo, is him being a bastard and going around and like sneaking around, and you're like, what is that guy doing? And it's like, oh, he knows, but he knows what he's doing. That's sick fuck. And they remove that entirely because they like have him like go somewhere and explain exactly what he's doing to figure out exactly why. They introduce 2 police characters who are constantly around, who are all like, oh, Columbo, this is why Columbo did this. And Columbo looks pissed off that they're doing it. But it's just like, but they're still doing it, you know? Like, even if you say that, like, I've been very disappointed in season 6 of Columbo. I will see how season 7 of Columbo is, but I was not impressed. There was a very funny episode though where he had to figure out how to defeat the head of Mensa. And it was like this insane thing where the guy's like, Columbo, you must have a very high IQ to be able to quarrel with me. And Columbo's like, I'm just gonna eat this donut. And it's like, you are the king, sir. That episode's actually pretty okay for season 6, but it still has the same problems. It's just really funny, the concept of like Mensa and the evil leader of Mensa who killed the guy. But yeah, the other thing I've been watching, just real quick, has been Kamen Rider Revice, which I have talked about before. I think it's really hit its stride. I think it is a great Kamen Rider series. In the most recent episode, there's been this like driver. It's not the most recent episode, but the one I've caught up to, which is like 2 episodes behind. There's been this driver that's passing around for to become Kamen Rider Demons, which is pretty cool. He's like a spiderweb themed one, and he does drill attacks and stuff. And that's pretty cool. But the guy who was him, died. Not like the actor, like the character. So then it switched to being the villain, but now it switched to another guy who is just the main character's dad, who's like, you know, like he's like 58 years old, and he just puts this on. And there was this thing in Revice that was driving me insane, where in episode like 12, they took the dad to the hospital, and the doctor's like, damn, your dad doesn't have a heart. And they just didn't acknowledge this. And I was just sitting here for every episode going, why doesn't their dad have a heart? And it's because his evil Kamen Rider belt makes an evil heart inside his chest when he does his transformation. And it's really cool, because Kamen Rider is really cool. But that's fun, because it has a more traditional bug theme, which they haven't... You know, like Kamen Rider's always bug themed, right, to an extent. But I would go so far as to say the last like 16 years, the bug thing has been so tertiary. But this guy, he does the Kabuto stamp, and he gets a cool beetle wing cape over his arm that he uses as a sword, and it's really cool.
Oh, that sounds great.
I highly recommend this one as it's airing, because it's like, for the longest time I just thought it was insane, but it is insane in the best way. Like, it is totally like, I thought they were just throwing everything at the wall, but they totally know exactly what they're doing. They're just being insane. I'll also give this series points for having I think 01 had a good one, and I know 01 had a non-binary writer, but this time the girl writer is like genuinely just a normal writer, and that's really nice to see.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just like, yeah. after watching a lot of like the mid 2010s ones or like the early 2010s ones and some 2000s ones, and you see like every time they try to do a girl rider and it's just the most misogynist thing you've ever seen. It's really nice to see this. I think like between this and Zero One, and I think there was some stuff in Zio or something to an extent as well. My girlfriend was telling me it really feels like they actually realized like, oh shit, wait, maybe we don't have to hate women. Maybe people like when there's a cool woman in things. But yeah, that's basically all I've done.
No, hey, listen, I've recently been watching Columbo, so
Oh, you have? Oh,
yeah, no.
how far are you?
No, because the way that I do it is that somebody I follow on Twitch has started to like stream it. Basically, like everything is on archive.org. Like all of Columbo is just on archive.org. So what we have been doing is just like every Sunday, Columbo Sunday, we have just been watching like started out the first season, or what is it? The original pilot, which is based off, I believe, a like play or like a
yeah, and you can tell because it's really, really different.
It's a really different Columbo. And then we've just been going through every episode after. I think we last stopped at like episode 4 or 5 of season 1. But yeah, I think episode 4. Lot of fun. Just really great to also have it in like a group watch environment where also just like people of similar like media backgrounds watching this for the first time, and just coming like the first season where it's like Columbo, or that first episode of Columbo just like actively like for the killer, he gets to the accomplice and he just starts actively trying to like interrogate her and like raising his voice, which he never does like ever. We just like we just came up with the backtrack lore of like he's unleashing his stand, he's doing the Columbo curse. he's acting too powerful right now. So that's why like in everything else he just realized I can't get that powerful again.
I'll hurt somebody.
I'll hurt somebody that I don't want to hurt.
My wife told me never to let that guy out again. I'm sorry.
My wife, she didn't really like seeing that guy. She didn't like seeing the tailed beast inside of me. And I think that's the other thing as well. Like the fucking Gianni, like Columbo and Death Note video really, I think, helped put Columbo back on the fucking like general mainstream of folks. Both people that have just watched it because it is genuinely good television, and then people who are newer to this where it's like, oh, this is fun, and then you just have like, you're telling me that the PlayStation, they're relaunching the PlayStation Store to figure out all these PS3 games. But what I just want to know is, how can you play the PS3 if the PS3 got no games?
I know, it's so fucking good. Because I've liked Columbo for years and years. So the second that shit started up, I was like hype beyond belief. And that's why I started. I was like, I should get to the episodes I didn't see.
Yeah. But
it's just so nice.
Like recently, or God, there was this recent one, and I think it was episode 3, where he just goes off to like a golfing course. And he's just like talking to the guy who he assumes, which correctly, was the person who was having like an affair with the killer's, or not the killer. No, the person that was murdered, whose husband is like, I don't know where she is. Like, just need to get more information. He's just like, I don't know about this golf stuff. I'm not really sure what's going on. And then takes off his jacket, and we're just like, I'm taking off my limiters. Give me a second here. Just, it's fun.
I know there's that last episode of season 5, which apparently is the moment people say that Columbo jumps the shark because they don't show you who did it. Was really had a real dark Columbo energy to it, where he was hugging everyone in the episode. Like he was putting his, like he would be like sitting, like there were a lot of really long, uncomfortable shots where it's just like he just puts his arm around a guy, and the guy looks like he wants to die, and he's like, "Can you tell me about ship rigging or something?" And it's just like, this man's gonna die, Columbo. Or like he's like going up to this woman, and he's like, "Can you help me move my leg to the meditation pose to this poor woman?" And just like grabbing his wretched leg and moving it around, and like. At the end of the episode, he steals someone's boat and rides away. And they go, "Where are you going, Columbo?" And he said, "I'm going to meet my wife for lunch." And it was just like, you're stealing a fucking boat?
Holy
Insane.
shit.
The chaotic energy, I'm telling you, it's really good. I think that episode's good. But the episode immediately after has William Shatner in it, so who can say what's really good?
God, Columbo overcome by his Columbo succumbing to the disease.
It's insane. It's insane. It's so fucking good.
My demon arm is acting up.
That's what it. Well, that's what the thing I realized is I have my cursed eye, as it were, where my left eye hurts a lot of the time, just 'cause of how it is. But I realized he has the glass eye, right? Peter Falk has the glass eye.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
And he's always touching it, and I'm always doing the same thing, and I was like, oh my god, he's just like me for real. It was this real moment of camaraderie.
The TV watching Columbo with the dog.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my god. But no, Columbo fucking owns. Highly recommended to all of our anime watchers, because if you're looking for something similar to One Piece, similar
to One Piece in length, but also the genuine appeal
pacing
of Columbo is the fact that at the beginning of each show, or at the beginning of each episode, you see who does the murder.
Yeah.
You know who the culprit is, how they cover up their tracks, how they just do everything to have the seemingly perfect murder. The rest of the episode is, okay, how does Columbo get this guy? How does Columbo just manage to actually solve the case?
How does Columbo destroy this man's life in 65 minutes?
Yep.
My favorite thing is, like, the episodes are so long that the Columbo movies are just honestly 2 to 3 episodes put together. And that to me is, for some reason, really funny. That is how, like, cable television back then, serial television back then, was just like,
Who
this is
fucking
just,
cares?
Yeah, just 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's
Same thing
Sunday
happened with Murder,
night.
She Wrote. Yeah.
It's CBS movie night.
Yeah. It's just 3 episodes. Get more.
Better days. To an extent. All right. I'll give you a chance to talk before I send it over to the boys, LV. What do you want to talk about? I'm curious about Platinum, but I do want to say I did see Great Pretender. I was curious. I've only seen half of you as well.
I'm gonna.
Yep.
For me, I think I will end my contribution to this roundtable in a positive note, and I will. I'm actually not quite finished with Platinum End. The last episode came out last week, so here's to that. You might hear my complaints about it inevitably next time. Yeah, I really dig Great Pretender. I really dig it. Which ties into a current season show I dropped because I was just like, damn, how a heist anime should be this way, like I like the structure of it. A heist, and Love of Kill was very much trying to convey that. Well, it's not especially a heist, but it's very much, assassin, anti-heroes, like just people doing stuff in a very, like very unexpected ways because they're not quite heroes, but also they're not, like those sorts of things. Love of Kill was sadly just very boring. I actually dropped it. I dropped it even though it was more than halfway, which is a shame because it's like, okay, I like the premise. I love this dumbass Mr. and Mrs. Smith premise where like they have to kill each other, but they love each other, but they have to still get,
Yeah,
that's fun.
You know what the problem
It had
was?
so much you could have fun with it, but the pacing was so drawn out, and like no one was very interested.
Yeah, they repeated the same things over and over again, like
Over and over again.
like like how like a shonen anime will have the last 20 seconds or whatever as the first 20
Yes.
seconds of the next episode.
Yes.
This was like the last 3 minutes or the first 3 minutes of the next episode,
Right.
and it's a single course
Right.
show, and it's just like you're wasting so much time, and
Right,
then
right.
the actual content is so glacial. It's just like put that all together, and it was just exhausting.
The composition of it felt very strange, where it was like, here's an episode dedicated, okay, there's actually a lot of action going on, pew pew. And then the next episode, nothing happens, which is trying to be like, here's a character development episode. They're just hanging out. They're just talk. But then no one's moving forward in anything. They're all kind of like stagnated in the way they are. Like, oh, she's still like doesn't know how to feel about like, oh, he's still, no one, I have not experienced any arc, and this is a series that's only like 12 or so episodes. So yeah. But yeah, that said, on the other hand, something like Great Pretender, like, and not to blame on the fact that it has more characters in it, and like the way it's handling, it's different. It's anthologic. It has different stories. It's exploring. I think it helps benefit. It helps benefit it in a lot of different ways, where it's taking these characters into different situations. So yeah, I've only seen the first 2 cases, as they call it, which is essentially the first half of the series, where I believe there's 2 more cases, and that's that for now. And yeah, it keeps me on my toes. It's very exciting. It's very fun. It's very loud and proud and colorful. Like wonderful artistic direction. I love this like saturated neon color palette. It has like, stuck around, it's incorporated into the show's design, very Miami Vice, very, very 80s, 90s neon, like it's very clear as to what that visual language is and what what's the material they're drawing from. They're drawing a lot from modern noir, modern intrigue, it's very clear. And yeah, like a great cast of horrible bastards. It's just like, damn, these people just fucking suck. And yet they hook you in. You're very much like, what are they gonna do next? And like, it's whenever they draw you in through a serious moment. For instance, I forgot her name, right? But like, what was her name? Abigail. Yeah, Abigail, for instance, is a very interesting character. Where at a glance, she just seems like, she's just someone who's like short-tempered all the time, and she's a bitch. Like she's great. Like she doesn't hold back on what she wants to do, and it's very clear that we learned that, oh my god, she was a fucking child soldier. And I was very surprised and shocked that this was very much a show, a piece of Japanese media that actually like explored the Afghanistan war, the Baghdad war, like Iraq. It was so interesting that like it kind of explored that and tapped into it in a way that I think it didn't dive deep into it where it didn't need to, but I think like the way it did to explain why someone is the way they are was very good, actually. That said, I think where it's clear that this is a show that where the characters kind of reset in a way. I think that's where it kind of has its flaws where, yeah, these are kind of cartoonish characters where they keep surviving. They never die. They're gonna regress back to their ways because, again, they're all shitty people. They're all people who are criminals, etc. And again, somewhere again to like, you were talking about Columbo and all this. Like, these are shows where these characters are kind of eternal. They will never die. They're kind of like set pieces to like a bigger universe to keep telling stories. So it's kind of like a disservice when they kind of do explore these deeper character arcs with these characters, and then they kind of don't. They're kind of like hand waved onwards episodes end. But they certainly do paint like portraits of like, okay, I kind of know how these characters present, but it doesn't really seem to influence their behavior here on out. Like, for instance, the main protagonist, which is Makoto, his whole reason for getting into the con man life is like, yeah, because of like what happened, like his feeling betrayed by his father. Like, his father was a lawyer, and his father supposedly got caught in a scandal, and then his mom was just very sickly, and that's that. And he kind of like, unfortunately, just had a wave of unlucky. Sorry, the joke. He got Jokerified. He had one bad day. No, he just got subjected to like a whole series of like just horrible things, like just being like, again, the rug pulled under him at work where he thought he had a stable job, but it turns out everything like was a fucking like laundering scheme or something to that effect. So then he was just like, yeah, you know, why not? If I keep getting in trouble like this, I'll just keep doing this stuff and keep doing fraudulent acts and stuff. And that's how he ended up here in one way or the other. But yeah, ultimately those things don't really carry throughout the drama of the show. Like, I feel like a lot of the stuff is really contained within, the cases they go through, like the very specific schemes they're trying to deal with each specific place. And although it's like a weak part, it's of the show where like there isn't really like character development that carries through and isn't really impactful. I think, again, especially in ways where this is a show about like different ethnicities. So again, like in a lot of ways, where I think like Abigail's backstory, where she is someone from the Middle East and she was subjected to like all those atrocities. It's just like, oh man, it's like, wow, it's saying so much, but then it's never going to talk about this again, isn't it? Like, it feels that way, right? It kind of does that. It kind of does those stories a disservice, where like I was like very surprised by that being represented at all. But overall, like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, it is otherwise a solid series, despite something like that I have an issue with, but it's, again, very minimal because they are not technically the main focus of what the series is about, which is, again, here's a bunch of like dipshits doing bad things, and like, will they succeed? And, you know, and will they, which again, like, you know, a Robin Hood effect. They're ultimately justifying what they're doing by like, hey, there are shittier people out there, and we're trying to bring you know, we're doing shitty things to them. We're not quite the bad guys. You know, it's one of those things, right? And yeah, just overall, a very stylish show. I've heard a lot of things about the second half of the series is not that great, or not that great, but more like, oh, it's not as strong. But that's it. It is quite a ride. It is very good in like its visuals, its music. It's just overall presentation is very solid, and I'm glad to finally like just come around to like trying it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get back to it because I was waiting for this because I was watching it with my girlfriend, so now we can watch that easier. But no, I got a little less than halfway through, and I was really enjoying it. But I did have some of the same problems as you.
Like, yeah, for instance, like they outright show like discrimination. They outright show them being fucking racist to each other, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, well, yeah, it's realistic. They're not good people, and they're not encountering good people, and this is a very multicultural show. And like, I really loved the little technical like joke they did in the first episode where, you know, and it's so funny how so many people were, not so many, but there was a good handful of people who were watching the dub and they were very miffed by it. Like it's like, okay, come on. It's clearly like an artistic decision where regardless of the language version you're watching the show, they're actually kept the Japanese language track because they're focused on Japan. You know, Makoto is like one of the key Japanese characters in the show, and at some point when he runs into one of the other protagonists, which is a French white man, that is just the Japanese voice actor trying to speak English with him. You know, and they're both Seiyu. It's both the Seiyu, but like it's that's what it's trying to portray. It's portraying this person who's not fluent in English trying to speak to this man in a different language. And it does a cut in the middle of like the episode being like, you know what? For the sake of everyone's time, they're going to be speaking the language of the new show from here on out. And that was extremely funny to me. That was extremely funny. And then it actually switched. And again, I was watching the English dub. It switches to the proper English dub language track. And I thought that was a very interesting technical decision. I don't think I've seen anything else do.
No, it's good. I liked it a lot.
Really, it was a really funny gag. I mean, like more and more, we do see like localization efforts do a Duolingo. Duolingo. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. The fucking language. The fucking owl is haunting my dreams.
Get that
and it's still telling me, hey, you haven't finished your German lesson number 2. Anyway, you're not hanging.
He's hanging out.
You're running out points. Dual language. You know, dual language tech. You know. Things which, you know, I think, you know, if we're talking about video games, I think immediately about great at Ace Attorney because like racism is such a pivotal part of that story. So it's like it makes sense to like further enhance that immersion by like actually having the Japanese characters speak Japanese or just be the Japanese actors. You know, it's like I think that's very cool, and I would love to see more of that, especially with the globalization of anime and just animation in general, where a lot of those things can be just done now. You know, and I think that's really cool. It was just a tiny joke, and I was so impressed by it.
Yeah,
It's the little things that
The little
we
things.
remember the most, as they say.
I definitely hesitate on the second half, if only because the fact that knowing it's an entire 12-episode season, because each, like, the first core is, like, separate, like, heists chopped
Yeah.
up into, like, different episode amounts. So for a whole
Yeah.
core to take up...
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like for some reason one is just really long and it didn't need to be. And like, yeah, I tell yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that
like,
doesn't-
I feel like it... What I'm getting, because I haven't started it yet, focuses much more on the leader of the whole, like, confidence
Yeah, yeah.
ring. So, you know, I get wanting to have that space, but I could also see where it's like you have 2 or 3 episodes in Dubai, 2 or 3 episodes in LA, 3, maybe 4 episodes in London.
Mm-hmm.
To have something so heavily focused could definitely feel like another kind of dragging.
Yeah, the momentum is suddenly different now. Like there was an established structure that's now suddenly different. Yeah.
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 But no, I definitely enjoyed what I saw of it as well, so...
So before we wrap up, we're gonna have one more thing, which is once again handing it to the boys to discuss.
Boys' night.
Boys' night!
I don't know how fun this is based on your writing here, but if you wanted to talk about Dress Up Darling and how you felt about it ending? Question mark.
Yeah.
I mean, the first season of the anime is over. I would not be too surprised if they didn't make another
Yeah.
season. Even if they
Oh,
don't,
definitely.
the manga's still going. But I mean, overall, I liked it. You know, I definitely like this show. I'm just so happy that there's like this nice rom-com story out there for folks who are normal. Almost, I want to say, like, it's refreshing to see an anime that is portraying a young love with all the ups and downs of it in a really even-handed and like an interesting way. I very much appreciate it. I think there's a lot of people like trying to just compare it to like way more fetishy stuff, like your Nagatoros and stuff like that. Which, you know, I'm not gonna just like completely tell you to fuck off if you like Nagatoro, but also I just think that like comparing Nagatoro and Dress Up Darling is a bit disingenuous, where it does very much feel like Nagatoro is just trying to play off this specific fetish, this specific thing to get guys excited, but Dress Up Darling is very much like, yeah, there is cheesecake in this, but and if they removed it, we wouldn't be missing too much. But at the same time, I think when they do it, there is still a little bit of a reason behind it, because it is very much like this is how Gojo is trying to deal with like being with a hot babe, basically, and then like she finds him attractive too. Like one of the funnier scenes is like she takes Gojo out shopping, and she's like, "Yeah, I want to get you some nice clothes. I want to dress you up because, you know, you've been dressing me up. I want to see you in nice stuff." And he just puts on like the dumbest shit. Like he's dressing up like Guy Fieri, and the guy, like the attendant who's helping them at the clothes store is like, "Oh wow, like this guy, she's just picking out some real dog shit for this guy to be wearing." But inside her head, she's just like, "Oh my god, he is so fucking cute. No matter what we put on him, he's adorable." Like it's so cute just to see these kinds of interactions, these characters. Like I don't know, I think that the comparison is off. There's definitely things wrong with Dress Up Darling, but I just feel like saying, like, completely brushing it off and trying to say it's another one of those shows for guys who have no hose and stack no paper or whatever the fuck. Like, shut up. just shut up, dude.
I want to know who in the anime community. I want to know the dude who watches anime, who goes, "You stack no paper, you get no bitches. You watch Dress Up Darling."
You'd be surprised.
Yeah,
Bro, you're watching Mushoku Tensei. Bro, you're watching My Girlfriend is a Gal. You can go Asian 47 yourself, dude.
yeah.
Listen, they got lots of sexy anime figures they can look at. Okay, you're just jealous.
Well, they can send some to me.
Yeah, like it's just be normal about it. It's fine, whatever. It's just a fun show, and I think it's fine for what it is.
Yeah. No, like, if I really had to consider it, Dress Up Darling is my anime of the season, because it was the thing that started this season and ended this season that I consistently kept up with.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic up and down. The thing that definitely gets me, or the thing that I knew was eventually coming up, and
Yeah.
like was gonna be, regardless of how it was going to be handled, it was just going to be a point of discussion. Is the fact
It's
that
one
of the
very
cost-
dumb bit that is just very
Yeah.
poorly handled. Like, it should not be there at all, and it's very dumb, and like,
both in anime and manga, it's
Yes.
very much one of those things that, in hindsight, this could have been done with something better, or you could have gotten something else out of this. Where, for the next cosplay that Marion wants to do after the Magical Girl group cosplay, she's basically showing Gojo Guilty Gear, and she's like, "Oh, look at this girl! She's so cool." This like Ramlethal equivalent, and she's like, "I wanna dress up like her." And he's like, "Wow, yeah, that's quite the revealing outfit." And then, bringing up the fact that the Ramlethal clone is a very dark complexioned or heavily tanned character. So they're thinking, man, how are we going to pull that off? Cut to next day. Gojo opens the door. "Hey, how's it going? Marion, you're so tan. What happened?" "Oh, I got that tan. No, actually, I bought this foundation that goes and like gets my skin color or gets my complexion close to the character. Can I just borrow your shower to like wash it off? Let's go shopping." And then the rest of that episode is fine because it's just, a focus on Marion and Gojo. And
yeah,
arguably after that episode, then they're like, okay, we're gonna go focus here. And then at the end of that episode, Gojo's like, "Dude, this character that you want to cosplay, I don't feel comfortable like being in the same room with you doing it, because it's just like a really big departure from what we've done." And Marion at that point is like, "Hey, if you're not feeling comfortable with it, we don't have to do it." And then the episode ends with, "But like, if you want to see him though, I could DM you. Do you want my nudes?" And like in the way that it's like, and again, not outright, but it's people that are actively being interested in each other. Still not at that point yet, but then it's just like, yeah, but what? That episode still has things that I appreciated and was like a fan of. But ultimately, with this being a Japanese-centric lens on cosplay as performance, cosplay as art, basically, this is still just a conversation that's had in multiple circles. And the thing that gets me pissed off more is just the discourse around it, where ultimately it's like, I can't sit here and dictate what you can and can't do as someone that chooses to represent characters that are on screen, but the thing that I can at least go about here is think for a second. Every single anime character that you have seen, how many can you name immediately that are either black, coded a person of color, coded an ethnicity that isn't just Japanese or European? Now, with that handful, if you're someone that ascribes to the theory of you have to be able to have a direct representation of the source material to do an effective cosplay, is there an actual pool of people for black folk, people of color, to accurately, and I use the biggest fucking air quotes when I say that, cosplay somebody?
And I mean, it's even like a kind of against some of the stuff that the show talks about, where like they very much they had the scene where they went to like the big cosplay gathering, and they were like, yeah, like a lot of these people don't look screen accurate, but they're representing their character and they're having fun, and you know,
Yeah.
I think that like honestly it would be a great little moment to just be like, yeah, like you could dress up as the character, you don't have to fucking do basically blackface to do it, like you just. Like, I know folks who dress up, like, as characters who have darker skin, and they just, you know, they don't paint themselves or anything, they're just wearing the costume, and, like, you know,
Yeah.
there's definitely folks who have darker skin who cosplay characters that have light skin, and they do their own thing, you know, like, whether it's, like, more quote-unquote faithful, or if they do their own spin where it's just like, yeah, like I made them more like as like a like how I feel like they would represent themselves if they were black, or like that sort of thing. Like all that stuff is like a valid way to show your love for a character, and I do wish that they could have just like pointed that out here, because that is kind of like part of what Dress Up Darling is saying. And so, you know, I will say, as someone who has looked a bit further into the manga, they, you know, go into some stuff with like cross-dressing and like stuff like that, and I think they do a pretty all right job with that, just like talking about like, you know, why people would want to dress up as characters who don't quote unquote match them, and I think they do a good job talking about that. But yeah, here it's just like this one moment where it's just like, yeah, you're not really thinking this through. You're being kind of fucky with this, and it's not a good look. But yeah, it is very much just this one bit, and then they move on, and then you're just kind of like, oh boy, all right, well,
Yeah, because the latter episode just, again, focus more on Gojo and Marin becoming more comfortable with each other through this shared hobby, and that is impeccable. Like, that is very solid writing in terms of a rom-com, where you just have these two people getting to know each other better. And, like, it just is unfortunate that this one, like, moment really... One was just kind of just like, all right, we're going through this. But then you just see the conversation around some of it, and it's like, oh, I'm less mad about the show itself, because it's still wanting to be open about stuff. I'm more pissed off by the people who'll say, like, God, what were some of those? This is a very USA conversation. Like, I'm glad to know black people don't exist in the Netherlands, or Japan, or China, or... I'm glad the dark-skinned people don't exist in Southeast Asia. Like...
Even just specifically in Japan, like, there's such a specific discussion about that stuff with this, like, you know, Southern Islands and stuff. It's just...
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's like, it's stupid to think that these conversations don't exist just because of the fact that we assume a completely mono-ethnic state. No, it's just an ethnic majority, because show me an actual mono-ethnic state in 2022, you can, and the people that advocate for it are also people I want to punch in the face.
It's the kind of people that are like just trying to brush all this aside are the kind of people that are like posting pictures of Uzaki and being like, oh, these fucking insane triggered libs in America. Oh, Japan is so based, and then you look at their Twitter profile and they live in Wisconsin. You know, it's just like it's that kind of shit.
It's like, no, you don't see my like curiosity about why Nagatoro is like dealing with shit as a frustrated, very tan person. You don't think I'm not going to read a little bit into that? Dress Up Darling, ultimately, fantastic show. I'm very eager to see if it does continue, because top-notch atmosphere, animation surprisingly well done.
Yeah.
Just a lot of good things, and stuff that's coming forward, I also am curious to see as well. It was just one of those moments of just like, all right, yeah, like, this is technically a component of cosplay, and so we want to, like, see some focus on it, but it's more like the theme there, the ultimate message of that chapter, I would say, was like, sometimes I'm not going to see eye to eye on somebody's cosplay, but I still want to hang out with this person so we can do something else. Mm-hmm. It could have easily just as been like, oh, Marion, what do I need for this cosplay? Oh, just got to make 2 belts. What? Yeah, that's it. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Like, because that's ultimately what the hesitation is for Gojo still. So,
yeah, I mean, and hell, like, it could have. They could have even turned it into, like, if they wanted to talk about not being comfortable with doing a cosplay. I mean, I don't know if they would make Marin be ignorant, but there could have just been a bit where like Gojo's just straight up like, yo, don't put that shit on. Yo, that ain't good, sis. Like.
See, unfortunately, I don't even think Gojo would be that tuned into what the fuck's going on in the world.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, it wouldn't really fit, like, their characters and all that. But, like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of that's how it is. You just kind of have to, like, hope that the author themselves are in tune enough to know that ain't gonna fly. But I don't fucking know. I mean, yeah, it was a bad bit in that episode. But again, I would say that on the whole, the show is still really solid, and I would recommend folks check it out if they are interested in a rom-com anime.
Yeah. The ratio of, geez, to, oh, I like this, isn't as big.
That's actually the, like, standard for anime recently,
I mean,
to be quite honest.
There's the weeb ass shit rating, and then there's the ratio of oof to, alright.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's yeah.
Ranking of Kings, though.
Yeah, here we go.
I was gonna say, you can go right ahead. Yeah.
So, this is something we knew for a while, and like, I feel like I've been waiting for a chance to bring it up, or after we had talked about it, because I sure still didn't know, and it's kind of just like, no, this legitimately sucks, because for Moranjo's backstory, she comes from this group, this village that is adjacent to another village, where the one village takes everything from the kind-hearted people who always give and will never retaliate. And then a invading, the kingdom, or like the gods, are invading, and at this time they decide, oh, we no longer want to side with you, we're going to side with the gods. And so we're going to kill everybody in this village, and then just torture a young Moranjo, and that leads to her wanting power to take revenge on the people that wronged her, and then find purpose afterwards. Someone pointed out that it very much is a dog whistle for the interactions between China, Korea, and Japan. I think specifically echoing sort of just like anti-Korean sentiments, specifically, with this village of like inherently mean-spirited people who constantly asked for the kind-hearted people to help, and then later went on and helped in the disentanglement, or like destruction of that village. And it sucks when something that up to that point was very passive and also thoughtful of showing interiority for its characters.
Like that's really the thing that got me when I read about that stuff, is like immediately that was the thing I was liking about Ranking of Kings. And then when you read that, you're like, oh, okay. And then from what I can tell from everyone who's seen it, when you see it, you're also like, damn, man.
I mean, I still needed someone to like actually tell me it, to be like, oh no, wait, that is there, yeah.
I think after playing my my Muramasa VN, I would have noticed on my own, just because I've been noticing it more and more recently. after
mean,
like
you
also
can
like
clock
reading
it.
up a ton about it. It's like
Yeah.
it's insane how insidious it is, specifically in Japanese media.
Oh yeah, you can clock it in some stuff. Fucking, what if Japan was being failed by every other nation and you needed a mech to show that it's still strong? Fucking whatever that show is that we talked about in the spring dissection.
Yeah, and he's the last true Japanese person because the nation's ruined by immigrants. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. But no, in this one it was so out of left field because yeah, like every person is given the space to be shown as human, save for including the literal devil. But then you don't do it for this group of people who are just inherently mean-spirited, inherently
Yeah.
evil people.
Like, you feel like that should have been the obvious pathway, right? Is to just dissect and dismantle that, like,
Yeah. Or
nomenclature
it's like,
being used, or like,
make it like they're being used. Make it that it's like, oh, we hate that we have to do that. Like, showing them on an
yeah,
even
anything.
field. Because it's like, oh, these are the magic users, and then these are the no magic users. Still keep them in like a peaceful, like, discussion, but then when the gods come by and like offer more, then it's just like, I'm still not going to say like that would be the grounds to like immediately kill, torture, do it, but at least be like, I don't know, show them at a moment of weakness, and then that leads to a very regretful decision. Still play with the interiority that you were showing so that I'm not left with this bad taste in my mouth of just realizing, like, shit, the thing that I was definitely considering for anime of the year has a very big, like,
blind spot, like,
stain
yeah.
on it. Blind spot. Because of just the way that I want to handle this. And it's not just the one episode, or rather, what then gets me for the latter end of this show is the fact that this is all backstory for Miranjo. This is trying to explain why Miranjo came to be the person that she is. I will argue that the adulthood Miranjo sets up for herself is more in line with the show than the inciting childhood. And that's unfortunate because it becomes such a focus for these last span of episodes because it's Boji choosing to say, okay, we're not gonna kill Miranjo, we're gonna find another way to help her, because I still believe in the good of people, and I want to do what I can to save people. It's this long chain of people that have been affected by Miranjo having to say, you know, you still gave me a benefit, so I still want to be able to repay that to you in any way possible. It's still presenting her in the plot, but then the further these episodes go, she just feels like a side point or just like something else that is sort of just there, because then we also have the situation around Oaken, this character that John, remind me, have you seen Oaken yet?
I have, yes.
Are you aware of who Oaken is?
He's like, he's someone. He's like, I think one of the brothers of the like king. Is he like one of the king's brothers or something? Right?
Yeah. I just want to
like
make
Dacia's
sure, like,
brother. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be here talking about spoilers, obviously, but I'm also just being courteous enough to my friends who are still watching, like with the dub or with other, or might not be as like quickly caught up, but. Yeah, Oaken, this like immortal beast of like a bodyguard that Miranjo just breaks out of the underworld prison, is Desha and Despa's brother, who fought with them to overthrow their father, who was sort of just like mad with power, and I think also like one of those original gods. And unfortunately, he is like gifted the gift of immortality in a way that just slowly rots him from the inside and just turns him into like this unrecognizable, like bloodthirsty monster. And with this intersection, it's like, okay, you know, if we can get Miranjo here, we're gonna try and just figure out this plan to bring Oaken back or try and like fix him again. So we're getting ourselves involved in any way that we can. Boji's there, not completely sure what's going on, but he's like, hey, I need you on my side. I want to try and do this with as zero casualties as I can. And so the episodes go. There's a very good fight sequence with Boji and another character that is so well done in the way that it blends metaphor specifically and still like presents that into its animation. Really blew me away when I saw it. This was 2 episodes after that backstory, and so I needed like a buffer basically because I was still fucking soured on what I was like processing.
Yeah.
But then thankfully, like the next episode, I'm like, no, this rules. And then the end of it just kind of wraps everything up in a way that is like, whew, man, we kind of just fumbled the bag here a bit. We definitely kind of just fumbled the bag. And then is equal parts setting up other stuff where it's like, all right, I'm at least still eager to see what's going to come out of this, but man, we really said we forgive the character that caused a lot of pain. Also, the shitty kid gets to marry her now.
Yeah. That was the vibe I got as well.
They're both elves, so they deserve each other.
That was the take I had seen to an extent. And I'm definitely going to get back to watching it at some point. But
Oh yeah.
like it was for real. Like I was already going to be like, I think I had worked myself up because I've consumed enough stuff that unfortunately has the Japanese nationalist tendencies inherent, just like, you know, we all consume normal American stuff that happened to have that over the years. But I was like, well, I'll know what's there. I'll know to condemn it and understand it. And then I was just like, I think you specifically said like, oh man, seeing it in action, I was like, oh man, maybe I need to put it off even more because it was just like, it's just so weird. Like, you have to wonder how it happens, right? Like, how do you develop enough of a mindset to create a work about interiority and then miss it that bad?
Yeah.
Like, how does it happen? Like, I realize that everyone has their own nationalist blind spots or misunderstandings about the way that their, you know, environment or what have you is perceived, but it's just like, how does that happen? Actually, like, how do you do that easy of a fuck up, really? Like, I guess the secret it might be something the creator really believes.
Yep.
Who can say? We don't know. It just sucks ass.
You know, for a while, it's like you just become so entangled in a work, and it's only until the last minute do you ever find anything that's wrong. Now, excuse me while I take a big drink of water and I look up news about that Rurouni Kenshin anime.
I had to tell someone last month about it who's not big into anime, but was like, they were talking about something, and then they were like, oh, I should really check out, I think, something with Netflix and Rurouni Kenshin. And I was just like, oh.
Netflix.
I wish I could. I thought they were something, they were talking about
Maybe the
it.
movies, the
That
live
might have
action
been
movies.
it. Yeah, that might have been it. They were
Which again,
saying.
yeah, like it's sad. They're good. They're like actually really
Yeah.
good live action. They're like probably one of the best like live action adaptations I've seen of an anime. And then it's just like, damn, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, it really
I can't
sucks.
watch it because, well, I can't watch it on a like legal means. Like this man is still getting money from this in some way. He's still
Yeah.
like given permission to like work on this. It would be a bit, you know, it would be a less complicated situation if he wasn't. You know, it would still be pretty. You know, it still feels bad, but he's still tied with this. You know. Oh yeah, such is the state of the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Attack on Titan done? Is that done?
I'd say
I
it's gone.
believe. I believe.
That's the silver line.
I think
Is
the
that
final
almost gone?
season is ending this week.
Okay.
and
Oh my!
then that
people
will be
keep
it.
saying it's
We'll never
ending,
hear it again.
and I don't know. Yeah, we've been saying, and everyone's been saying it's ending, but I'm like, when? No, give me a date. Give me the date. What is the actual last
I saw
no.
some fucking
falling into place?
yeah, Maverick.
Fucking, oh, I can't believe these, like, USA-centric conversations of these epic libs. Meanwhile, let me go watch the last episode of Attack on Titan.
I saw some dialogue from the final chapter of Attack on Titan, and I was shaken to my core when I saw the genuine line where the main character says something like, "No, the Mikasa can't like another person or whatever. She has to only think about me for the rest of her life." And I was like, bro, who's writing this? Insane. But yeah, I think that about does it then. Not to end on a dire note, but it's just how it be sometimes.
Folks, all that we ask is that you continue to update your media literacy.
Yeah, for real. Just keep trying to learn and understand things. That's what it comes down to. Don't just immediately get mad if someone says the thing you like sucks in a well-worded way. But yeah, so our next anime that we're going to watch, just to wash out the March Comes In Like a Lion, we got to get some Sword Art Online in this. But this is a spin-off written by, I think, is it the Kino's Journey? Kino's Journey
Is that
author,
really?
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's Gun Gale Online, and you can find it on Crunchyroll. I think it might be somewhere else as well. It might be on Netflix, but it's on Crunchyroll.
Everyone's favorite website right now, Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I was almost saying maybe we should bring back the news segment for that, but I'm sure people know. But yeah, we're gonna check that out. I think it's a 12 or 13 episodes, something like that. But yeah, we're gonna watch that. I've heard it's a very nice time. I've heard it's just very standalone, and you don't have to understand anything. Kirito isn't there, which I think everyone can be happy about. So yeah, check that out, and we'll talk about that next month. Here's a little bit, as always. Patreon.com/VGCC. $3 a month gets you every episode 2 weeks early. And we're finally for real, almost done the redesign for real this time, for real.
Yes,
So
it's happening. It's here almost.
the spiel might change over the course of whenever we figure out what the hell we're doing with that. But yeah, thank you for supporting us always. And thank you all for joining me. I hope everyone has a good night. And I'll see you next time on another episode of Unlimited Railworks. See ya.